Howdy ho, neighbors. It is I, Written Writ Ralph, and we are here with Apple Bites. Ready to start, ready to go, and all the fun in the world is going to happen as we take a bite out of everything and share it with you. Of course, today our guests are Corissa Grant and Peter. So,
Hello.
guys, why don't we start this off by you guys explaining who you are, what you do, and all the beautiful things. Carissa, you start off.
I am Corissa Grant of Worthy Chaos. I have a Kickstarter live with issues 1 through 5 of our series Redemption, and I am a role player of 17 years, and that's how I got this story written.
Oh, sounds like it's going to be a nice little role playing day. Peter, go ahead.
Hey, I'm Peter Chiykowski. I'm a writer and cartoonist and designer. And the thing that it's been filling my days recently has been the Story Engine deck, which is a deck of storytelling prompts that you can kind of create yourself out of little constituent story parts. And in particular, I recently launched a new deck called the Lore Masters deck, which is for coming up with like webs of world lore. So a little bit of world building, a little bit of story spinning. That's live on BackerKit right now at storyenginedeck.com/lore.
All right, so I got the first question for you right away. You know, we've had a couple people here come on with Backer Kit. Why Backer Kit? Why did you go in that direction?
I wanted to try something. I've done like 7 Kickstarters, and I do
Mm-hmm.
like the platform. They were like, it was an amazing innovation that really changed the way that like writers and designers could get projects funded. But I feel like they maybe have stagnated a little bit on keeping up with features that creators request, like the fact that like stretch goals were invented by a project creator and then like still haven't been added in as an official feature, or like add-ons took as long as they did. I think it's come from like Kickstarter kind of maybe getting a little bit complacent. And it's been cool to see a
Interesting.
platform come along that like really listens to and adapts to requests from project creators. So like BackerKit, when we're like, hey, we'd like to do a live stream from YouTube, they like built that integration a week later. And it's just really cool to have that like kind of more collaborative thing. And the other thing that's been neat about BackerKit has been, rather than the focus being on Kickstarter where like pledges and dollar amount is kind of all that matters for like if you're being visible to the algorithm, if they're going to put you on the front page, that matters really
Right.
heavily for how Kickstarter's native algorithms push content forward. Backer gets a lot more focused around like engagement with the community. So if you just post a really interesting poll and you end up having a really interesting conversation with your backers and you don't have a huge project, you can still end up on their like front page because they're like interested in, hey, where's the conversation happening? What's interesting to people? And I like that community focus. Like this has definitely been the most in communication with our backers that we've been in any of the projects that we've launched. It's been really cool to get their input. Like we've adapted the project to input we've received live, where people can tell us like we're more interested in this than this, or like this design we have questions about. So that process has felt a lot more like a collaboration than previous projects, and that's been like a very exciting way to do a project.
That's interesting. I do like all that stuff, and I do know that Kickstarter's been a little slow to take up some of these new innovations. I know people get happy when Kickstarter actually does certain things that they've been asking them to do. Uh, and I find that like a lot of the things I've heard about Kickstarter is that it sometimes it's a little difficult for like the new guys to come in and do what they want to do. You know, Carissa,
Yeah,
what
I
do you
think
think?
yeah.
Well, I do love Kickstarter, but mostly because it's popular. And but there's two things that I really can't stand. One, I understand the idea of not taking the funds out right away. However, everyone thinks the funds are coming out anyway because I always hear, "Oh, I'm getting paid next week. I'll do it then." So I think that it needs to take the funds out right away because by the time my Kickstarter ends, like I've had 3 non-payments. One was $400 and one was $300, and that's a lot of money. I'm not saying make it so they can't back out,
Right.
but you should at least take the payments right away because when that end button when it stops, you should know that that's the money you're getting. You shouldn't have to run around and contact people to get their credit cards going and fix their accounts. It's so super annoying. And the other thing, which when I mentioned this, somebody made a good point that it's not technically for comic book people, but I mean, there's thousands of comic book people on there. I wish that you could either duplicate your page because I have to redo everything every single time. And it's pretty much all the same stuff except for
Wow.
like the new added issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm in the middle of doing issue, the page for issue 6, and I have to add all the add-ons all over again and all the tiers and everything. And if they would just like save them, just like they're saving the items, it would make my life so much easier. It's just redoing. This is my, I mean, I haven't had as many as you, but this is my third real campaign. But I just add the same stuff over and over again. So it's a little frustrating to do it. But those are the two things that I think. But the funds coming out is the worst because I'm just so sick of unpaid stuff. And I've known people that they lost like 1,700. And if you're on the cusp, I don't know if you know this. If you, let's say your goal is 1,000 and you end with 1,000, if 2 payments don't go through, you don't get your funding. You fail. So it doesn't make any sense to me. But
wait. So the campaign ends. You're funded. It ended.
You're funded, but
and
the
you can
payments
still
didn't
fail.
go through. Yep. If the payments don't go through, then you're not getting funded.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely no sense. I didn't either until someone just told me. So it makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't see any reason to not take the funds out right away because you could still refund it if, there's no reason not to. And I mean, I send my stuff out before I'm even paid by Kickstarter. You don't get paid for 2 weeks after. There's no reason to have to wait 2 weeks to get your funding. So it's those things are very frustrating to me. My first Kickstarter lost 400 because someone bought all the plushies and they bought one of a kind items. So at the end of the campaign, nobody else could get it, and then I didn't get paid for it anyway, and had them put them all up again. And then the last one was $300. They bought a $300 statue. No one else could get it, and then I didn't get paid for it. Now it's up again.
Wow.
So it's very frustrating. I think that's the number one complaint that I would have over Kickstarter. And I know there's a couple of new campaign sites like Fund My Comic or something that doesn't have that.
Crowdfunder, Fund My Comic. Oh, there's a lot of new ones popping up. Yeah.
Newer ones, yeah. So that's my problem. But as far as popularity wise, I think it works, but it's very frustrating.
Peter, you were about to say something?
Sorry.
Yeah, just that I definitely sympathize with that, like the getting projects off the ground and like being a new creator. It feels like because crowdfunding gets more and more saturated every year, it's harder to make that entry in a way that like makes a splash and brings people on. I definitely have felt that. I know I have friends this year who've been like they've done 7 or 8 projects who are like for the first time having like, oh wow, this is like the first time that I've really struggled to hit funding goals that a few years ago would have been easy. And yeah, it's definitely like it's an interesting time. I think that because more and more people are treating crowdfunding as like this will be just the way that we're going to do all of our product releases, which is like it's great because it has always worked. But the more people are doing that, I think the harder it's been to get that splash. And it's definitely created like some of the same old problems from like launching anything are now just true of crowdfunding that used to be true of like other spaces, like trying to start your own business or start an e-commerce store.
Yeah.
But I still like it. There's something about I think like whether it's BackerKit or Kickstarter or whatever, it's something about that launching a project, inviting people to be part of it that still feels like a special kind of magic. It's different from pre-orders. It's different from just running an e-commerce store. There's something about that does feel like, hey,
there's an amazing magic to it. And I don't think that it's broken. I think that it's just harder. I mean, you have to work harder. Because I think before you relied on your audience, you relied on the people that you already had. Now you have to work your ass off so that you can actually get more people, so that you can actually do what you need to do, which makes it a little more difficult. You can't just rely on that one crowd because there's a lot of things happening. A lot of people don't have money anymore. At the same time, your audience, even though we are a big industry, that audience is smaller than people think it is.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree there. I mean, it's very difficult. Also, I don't like that. I mean, I guess that's how it works, but I don't like that it says on Kickstarter that you're not guaranteed to get your items back. And I understand where Kickstarter's kind of going with that, but that's kind of messed up. I wouldn't, if I was the first one on this site, I would not give so much money to somebody and then not get an item back. Your items are not guaranteed. Well, yeah, they should be though. So I mean, it's very frustrating that you can do that. Like you could just be like, and then it makes me feel so much better or so much more grateful that I have a lot of backers, a lot of new backers this time, and they're going for the $50 tier, the catch-up tier. And I'm like, that's very impressive because you guys are, I mean, I've been doing I've only been doing this 7 months, but I do get my items out within 7 days. You know, I make sure to I pay extra to get things shipped to me in 6 days. Last time I got my items on a Friday, I shipped them all on a Saturday, and I got paid on Tuesday from Kickstarter. So I try to get things out as soon as possible. I would never start a Kickstarter unless the item's actually done. But not everyone works that way. I just found out that my friend had a Kickstarter 5 months ago, and he still hasn't sent anyone their books. And he's like, people are starting to think it's just a donation, but I'm getting their books. It's like, well, I would have some doubt too. Like, you know, and there's nothing you can technically do about it. And I would find that as a backer, you know, very frustrating. As a new person coming in, I mean, I trust the indie community. You know,
Right.
I know a lot of people, but I mean, when I read that, and I never noticed that before, because I mean, I've backed like 60, but it's always people I know, so I'm just like back. Like I don't even look at whatever it is. But to say that it's not guaranteed, that's quite a risk there. So.
But it's so funny though, because it technically speaking, it's not guaranteed. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you fund, you're very definitely likely going to get what you tried to get there.
Yeah, I'm just
it's
saying.
Only not guaranteed if you don't.
Yeah, I'm just saying. As a backer, it says.
I know what it says. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying though. You know, that language, I think, is more for them and the lawyers.
Yeah, it says rewards aren't guaranteed, but creators must regularly update your backers. So it's like, whatever. I don't think anyone reads those anyway. Like I say that.
Nobody pays attention to that stuff.
No,
hey,
nobody
son of Saint.
Yeah. Like I sent an email saying everything's been shipped. If you don't get it in 5 days, let me know. And then, like, you know, I'll get a message like 2 days later. Did it ship? It did. It did ship. I told everyone it shipped. So I don't know if they don't get it, if they don't read it, or I don't know.
You gotta love the Kickstarter. Again, it's an interesting thing. It actually has this flow, just like Peter was saying, and just like you were saying, it's alive. It feels like it can go whatever way it wants to go.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could be on your way, and then like I had it last time where I think 3 days before it ended, like 3 people backed out, and then like the next day they must have sent out that you've got 48 hours or 2 days left to back it, and then like I got like 7 more backers, so it's like, okay. so you never know what it's going to be or how it's going to go or what. So I mean, it's very addicting to watch that stupid page. So
oh yeah, it's there's
awful.
no dopamine spike like the first couple days of a campaign.
Oh, definitely.
I'm pretty sure it waits till I don't look, and then like I'll be in the living room and I'll have the page open all the time and I'll be glancing over to it. I won't see anything. I'll shut it. I'll go to bed. I'm like, I'm gonna check it one more time. It's been like 5 minutes, and then like it went up, and I was like, well, what the? Okay, I'm glad it went up, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of like when I had a digital clock. I was sure that it wouldn't change if I'm watching it. As a kid, I was convinced it doesn't change if you watch it. I guess I didn't have a span of attention span of 60 seconds, but I never saw the clock go, so it's kind of like that. But yeah, it's an addiction.
BackerKit has a new feature that I love, but that's also like when it's happening, it's so addictive to watch, and it's called the pledge train. So if a backer,
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. If a backer pledges within 10 minutes of a previous backer, the pledge train gets another car. And so if you can chain a number of backers together where they all pledge 10 minutes apart, especially at the beginning of a campaign or at the end, you'll see the number go up for like, there's like 50 people on the pledge train, and there's a timer counting down how many minutes left before the pledge train expires. And that like initial rush to like, I must keep this I will protect this pledge train with my life.
Exactly.
I will make sure this pledge train reaches this station. And of course it is going to die at some point, right? Like
exactly.
At some point your project gets to those middle phases. But while it's going on, you will do anything and everything.
Dude, you're not kidding, because I was on your site and it goes, somebody just pledged, continue the pledge train, and you're like, damn, I need to continue.
When we launched on the same day as Gloomhaven launching the Gloomhaven re-release and the new line of miniatures and the Gloomhaven tabletop RPG.
Damn.
So the BackerKit temporarily crashed. But specifically, we had a developer who was dedicated to making sure that our page could get back up in time for the pledge train not to go down to get it back. Like 10 minutes was the timeline for like how long we have to fix this thing. And they did it. They like, actually it was only down for like maybe 10 minutes on launch day. And it was very lucky. And
I gotta say, when I was watching you on launch day, your train was going on for a while.
Yeah, the train. Someone definitely put some kind of like weird alien space crystal fuel in the engine because it was it was off to the races.
Yeah, I was like watching the live launch, and I was like, oh wow, that train's going.
Yeah,
That is kind of cool. I'd be obsessed with that.
yeah,
dude. And I'm telling you, what, like when you're on the site, like let me put this up right now, just to show it off. When you're on the site, it kind of tells you, well, this is happening over here, and if the train starts going, all of a sudden it's like, well, the train is moving. Come on, help it continue to move.
yeah.
Here. Yeah.
Oh man, there it is.
Yeah, it's me. BackerKit has put together some pretty cool. So there has been a pledge 2.5 minutes ago.
Yes.
If someone pledges in the next
There you
7.5 minutes,
join the pledge.
Chain will be 2 people long.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, that has to be like an incentive and a half.
Yeah, it definitely it's hard not to be rooting for the train. But yeah, it definitely the train doesn't really it slows down in the middle for sure. Like the BackerKit curve is the same thing as the Kickstarter, which is like day 1, 2, and 3 are all very exciting, and then there's kind of that. And now for 2.5 weeks, we try really really hard to just talk about this in any exciting way we can, and then near the end, I'm assuming there's gonna be a pickup. It's my first BackerKit, so we'll see. But
you know how it is. It's the first 2 days and the last 2 days, just like Corissa was saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, honestly, I really think that these things should only be 4 days long because it's the 2 first days and the 2 last days. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing in between the days. And sometimes I just want to be like, can I just end it now before anyone backs out? So I can get out while I can. So, yeah. So.
Dude, you are doing well. You're at 297,000.
That's insane.
Thank you.
But it's bothering me that it's bothering me that it's not 300. Like I'm horrible.
I don't know. I've been looking at it for like I think a day or two, and I've been going, come on, get to it.
The other like neat feature that I like about BackerKit is they added, so they don't call them stretch goals, they call them community achievements. And for the dollar-based and backer-based ones, they track them automatically. So you'll actually see like the graphic hit 100% of this goal and roll over to unlocked on its own automatically.
Nice.
And then you can set custom goals, but you have to like manually enter, like if it's like Facebook likes or something, you'll have to manually update it.
So does BackerKit help you find backers, or are you doing it all?
So it's been a combination of things. BackerKit has been because we're like one of the sort of their like launch crew. They talked to a few crowdfunding creators about coming on board with BackerKit to do a campaign as they were like sort of betaing their platform. So they've definitely done some help with like putting it in their newsletter and stuff like that, and they helped us get it out the door. But a lot of it has just been like going back to our previous backers to let them know about this and our social networks. And we do partner with BackerKit as a marketing service called BackerKit Marketing, which is largely commission based. But I've used them for the past 2 campaigns and found that I always got too busy to like run good ads, and I'm not a particularly good ad writer or runner. So that's like a thing they'll do on commission during a campaign. And I've partnered with them for a couple campaigns now and found that to be worthwhile. So we have some of those going too.
I didn't even know BackerKit did this. I knew of BackerKit.
Yeah.
But I was told it's like to save your add-ons or something. I was like, what is that? So I didn't know they actually had like a platform where you actually like have
this is new for them. I think they announced it last summer and started launching projects in it in autumn of last year. So there haven't been that many. But they've been working with like, I guess, serial crowdfunders who like had a track record of like delivering projects on time that they felt would be like a good representation of what they want the platform to do, and who could give some feedback, based on their experiences of like, if you could build your own platform from scratch, what would you want on it? So it's been cool to like have that, just to see some of those features like come to life in cool ways.
Do they have it where the funds are taken out right away, or is it at the end too?
No, it's still at the end. Their structure for that is a little bit different, but yeah, it is still at the end. I do think that which one is it? It might be Indiegogo. I think Indiegogo has a version where you can have it take the funds immediately.
I think you're right. I think it does. I don't like Indigo. I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem. I like their pre-launch page better because you can have a video and info and everything. But I haven't used them yet for backing, so I don't know. But
I know Crowdfunder takes out the money right away.
And so does, I think what is it? Fund My Comic that takes that right away too. I don't know anything about the other one you just said. So
yeah, because we've had a couple of guests come on and they use Crowdfunder, and it's more like you're doing a pre-buy of the book. because you buy the book and the money comes out right away. So you already have the book. Boom.
I wish we had that, because I would have these all shipped and I would have them all packed up and ready to go. Like, the only reason why I haven't packed them is, one, I have to wait 2 weeks anyway, pretty much. But two, I don't know who's gonna back out, because last time I made all the boxes and then like I had
You
people
had to
back
get
out
rid of some, use them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks. And then that it's funny that you say that. I was going to say that before. A lot of people have been complaining about the fact that people are doing that just exactly what you're saying. They'll come in and they'll do a big one, and then they'll pull out of it, or they'll do little ones and they'll pull right out of it.
I had one person who bid, like, I don't know why I say bid all the time, but pledge $130, and then like every week it got less, and then like wound up at the end to be like $15. And then it's like they want to get, like, they'll write to me and go, oh, I had to get you over to fund, so I did this amount, and you're over gracious, and you're like, you can't say thank you enough, and then it goes lower, and I just want to be like, what the hell do you think you're doing? And then I had one person, which I did report, that pledged, backed out, pledged again, and backed out. And then I found out that they were doing it to like everybody, because her Twitter account was only, I pledged at this. And then I don't know if you know Rob Mortari, but she had bid on his, and I said, she's going to back out. He goes, well, she hasn't yet. And like 24 hours later, she backed out. So I actually reported it, and they had wrote back and said that they had, I don't know if they did anything, but they said that they did. But she could just make another account, so it really doesn't matter. But it was just very frustrating that I don't think people, and it's really frustrating when other creators do it. Like, how frustrating it is. Why would you do that to somebody? So I don't know, but it is very frustrating, especially when it's like I just had a previous backer back it, and then 24 hours later, like, canceled it. And I'm just like, that's actually more hurtful than a new person, because it's like, you like it.
You like it. You paid for it before. You got it. So what's going on?
Right. And you can't be like I want to be like a jerk and be like, so why? Can you tell me why? Like, what is the issue? I actually did that once. And it was he had lost his job or something, so I wound up sending it to him. I was like, "Here, read it anyway." But it was,
that makes sense. He lost his job.
Yeah. You have a good excuse. But it's very frustrating, and I just had like 10 people. I have my campaigns really close together, which I knew would be a risk because not everyone can afford every other month.
Back to back.
So it's a test to do this so soon after. And most of them are like, I'm definitely going to pledge, but I'm waiting until next week when I get paid. And I'm just like, they don't take it out to the 17th. That's the whole point of the stupid thing. But I'm just like, if people are going to think you're taking it out anyway, you might as well just take it out. So
that's true.
Yeah.
And of course, crowdfunders are always so much fun.
Yeah. So, and I do it to myself every other month. So I have no excuse. Like, I just keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah. See, I'm on a 2-year cycle. I do a project every 2 years because I don't think my body could not fit. It would decompose if I had to deal with this stress every other month.
I kid you not. Like, I end, and like 24 hours later, I'm in pre-launch. And then 4 weeks, I launch. And then the day that ends, and then I go into pre-launch. And it's so funny because I had people be like, they all signed up. Like, in 24 hours, I had 50 followers, which to me is impressive. To you, not so much.
That's already impressive. That's because a lot of people don't do that pre-follow thing.
Yeah,
which is funny because it's so important.
Yeah, it is. So I was so thrilled because I just started. It was only my second. This is only my third one. So I was so thrilled because it took 3 months to get that last time. So I was so excited. It's still, I had people be like, didn't I just pay for this? I'm like, it's pre-launch, it's free, just sign up for it. That's the only thing. So we'll see how it goes, because I have one this month, and then my next one, the issue's already done. Issue 6 is done. And that launches August 15th. Issue 7 starts tomorrow being drawn out, and that's October 3rd. And that's the first in the first book is done. So the graphic novel will be released too. So
Corissa, God bless you.
Yeah, I don't know how long.
I'm listening to you. I'm planning one book, and it's taking me a long time to plan that one book. And I'm listening to you, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, well, I gave everyone November and December off for the holidays, and then January 23rd starts book 2, but it'll be drawn like 2 months before that. So, but yeah, my I don't want to stop my artist, because my artist literally quit his job to do my project.
Wow.
And I don't want him to go away. So I'm just like, he's got to be busy sooner or later. I might as well keep doing it until he gets too busy. So we're gonna go as far as we can. I have 5 books, and that's 45 issues. So, and they're all written. And he says he's staying around for all of them, and if not, he'll be locked in my basement and do it. So he actually posted. Do you know RoboCop? Yeah. So he died. So he posted something that says this poor guy died at work, and his boss made him come in, after he died. And I said that would be me. So just prepare that if you die somehow, you're coming back to do this. But he did get upset because I said I really wish you could do the spinoff. And he goes, why can't I do the spinoff? I was like, this is 45 issues. Book series 2 in this same series is already on issue 3. It's going to take you, at least 4 years to do this. The spinoff is already written. It's 45 issues. Unless you want to clone yourself, you can't do both. And then I also have the prequel, which is another 5 books. Woo! So he was grumpy, but he's looking into cloning. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, if he clones himself, you got it.
Right? I'm all good. Yeah, I'm excited.
So Peter, let's tell the people a little bit more about your amazing decks. I know I love them, and I like we were talking about in the green room. You really made it so fluid to add this lore to whatever you're working on. It's not difficult. It doesn't stutter or it just really flows.
Yeah, and it depends. Like some people it works for that way. Some people it's like more of a learning process to get used to the rhythms of it. For me, it's been like an intuitive process, and when I have a chance to go through it with people, they definitely they pick it up quickly. And the thing that I also like is if there's ever something they don't pick up quickly, they will fill in the gap themselves and just find a different way to do it that's better for them, which is like my favorite thing to see because this deck is all about like adapt it the way you want to. Yeah, so like the new deck, the Lore Masters deck, is basically about creating lore webs and doing that in a very like step-by-step organic way that feels like fun, but where you like one card at a time, you end up with like a big world where like, let's say you start by creating like one faction and drawing some traits or backgrounds for it. You might find out that faction like they're very prone to infighting, and they're the keepers of an ancient artifact, and they're led by this like disgraced leader. And then that leader and that artifact will actually be cards that you can pull out from your prompt, make into their own prompt, and find out, okay, well, who's this leader? They have a very deep and sonorous voice. They have a phobia of a particular creature, and they are like the owner of a really notable location. Want to know more about that location or that creature? You can pull those cards out and turn them into their own prompts. So organically, is like you're pulling out these individual sub-elements and seeing basically card by card, you're adding like new elements to this web of lore, and that like exploding galaxy brain feeling of like when you're world building and you're like plotting, okay, this character is this character through this backstory, and they're part of this faction, which is secretly the people who built this location, and that location harbors the artifact that's made from this secret material. It actually gives you a way to map all of that and develop those relationships one by one. So you end up with this like much more of a living ecosystem of lore where like the things actually feel connected from the foundations that you laid them on when you were thinking of them. And that's neat because rather than having like world building where like you have a bunch of stuff going on, but it doesn't connect, or where like you have this cool creature and you have this cool location and you have this cool character, but like you don't have a story yet, it kind of gives you that connection of those things together in a story. Yeah, I find that really fun and fluid, and it's helped me come up with like session material on the fly when I've needed to. Like
I was about to say that because you mentioned that in the green room. And it's just amazing because I know sometimes what happens as a DM, especially as a DM, is that you're sitting there and you have this idea, but you're missing bits and pieces because it doesn't all come to you in one shot. And especially because sometimes you need the players to play through something in order for you to get certain bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But it's always better to go into it already knowing at least a little bit more than we usually do. Yeah. And I think it was fascinating that you actually were able to sit there and go, all right, let's flesh this out. Because again, sometimes we have a villain, or we have a treasure, or we have a device that we're thinking about, but we still don't have all the bits and pieces to it. And I think it's amazing you were just able to sit there, draw the lore cards out, and figure out, all right, let's go with this.
Yeah, I had a location that the party was going to be exploring. That I knew that there was an item they needed to get from it. I knew what the item was, but I didn't know like how am I going to make the delving of this interesting. So I thought like I'll make a couple creatures using the creature decks. and I ended up with a floating colony of jellyfish that can kind of assemble themselves. Like they can surround people, engulf them, and then control their bodies almost like they're piloting it, you become like a jellyfish mecha basically. They can absorb and take over bodies, which is a lot of fun. And I ended up with a like bioluminescent stimulant fungus that's used as like a spice and occasionally a distilling material.
Right.
Were some of the prompts that I drew for like how this material is used, and that was nice because I'd wanted the character who was going down was the party's druid, who's like a circle of stars druid, and he was wild shaped as a spider, and he ended up like deciding to try tasting the lichen. Which he knew was a stimulant, but he had, I think, forgotten that he was a spider and his
Right.
body was very small. And also, then I looked up that turns out spiders can taste and absorb things through the hairs on the outside of their body. So when he said like he was going to touch the lichen, I'm like, you're actually like absorbing a lot of it into your tiny spider body. This is probably enough to give you a significant high. So the party's druid is hanging upside down on the ceiling of a cave, surrounded by these like constellations of lichen. They themselves are a circle of stars druid who's always like looked at the world and tried to plot themselves through stars and constellations. And they're suddenly having a psychedelic experience, seeing this lichen through 8 eyeballs simultaneously because they're a spider, upside down, like alone in this dark cavern at the edge of the world. And it turned into like a really fun, weird moment for them. And then this character who's like, generally speaking, a very calm, laid back. He's a druid, but he's like, we call him the surfer druid. So kind of like surfer dude meets druid. So he's got like a SoCal accent and like is very chill about everything in game. And all of a sudden he's on a stimulant when he comes back and he's like, come on guys, let's go. And this complete change of character and pace. And it led to some really fun role play. And all that happened because I started pulling elements to add to the cave with the cards, and ended up with like some really fun material to work with.
I gotta admit, like one of the things that I've been liking about this campaign that you're running for the deck is that you've actually like we're looking at right now, you've made it into like an event there. You can actually keep coming in to see how everything works, to see how it is. Like you got this like create a D&D setting thing up, and there's also multiple ones that you did do. And I feel like you're actually working to like, okay, folks, come on, I can show you how this can be a part of your life.
Yeah, I think that the most fun that I've had in this campaign has been doing the live streams where we'll I'll pull prompts. The audience just tells me which cards I want to use, and then they'll in the comments they'll pitch like, here's how I'd interpret this cue, or I think we should use this card, but it means this. And we basically that's what we did on Friday was we created a D&D setting over about 2.5-3 hours.
Nice.
That we're gonna play a one shot in on Wednesday. And I'm in the middle of trying to pull together, like we ended up with all of this spaghetti on the wall. That's a lot of fun. And I'm trying to weave the spaghetti into a cohesive plot. It's a lot of fun. Actually, can I read the pitch more or less? I kind of just,
go for it. Go.
Mm-hmm. All right, hold on.
As I show off your schedule of events here.
Yeah, this is the debut of the introduction. Nobody else has heard this yet. We haven't.
All right, there you go, folks. Right. We got a debut.
On the northmost tip of the world of Rimeway sits Skycrown Glacier, a massive ice field with aeons of secrets and stories frozen within its icy depths. Skycrown has always been a place of mystery and intrigue, even more so in recent years as factions and figureheads from across the continent of Rimeway turn their attention to biomancy, an experimental new form of life and death magic first discovered on the glacier's barren slopes. In the race to harness this new arcana, one opportunistic nonprofit has risen to power and now holds exclusive research rights over the glacier. The Biotactica Foundation has locked down the region, but just outside the control zone in the village of Whistling Falls, one brave defector from the Foundation is assembling an expedition to journey into the heart of Skycrown and drag the glacier's deepest and darkest secrets to light. And all of that was just from drawing cards with the audience over a few hours, pulling in some elements. There's going to be a waterfall of floating frost jellyfish. There's going to be like hot spring greenhouse gardens. There's going to be undead dragonflies. I'm really excited.
Dude, that sounds so great, and that all came from that one thing. And again, another thing we're talking about in the green room, we're also talking about the fact how easy this is to flow. These rules don't stagnate your creativity. You actually let it flow with the creator. You don't have, like, if you're trying to figure something out, you can actually sit there with these cards and actually figure that out instead of going, well, no, these are the cards I pulled.
Yeah. So the decks come with a guidebook. I don't call it a rulebook. I call it a guidebook because it really is focused on like guiding and not restricting. The first rule in the guidebooks that I publish is usually don't leave without creating something, even if it's just an idea in your head, even if it's just like a new thought you've had. Like, don't leave without making something. And then the second one is ignore any rule that doesn't serve your purpose. And there's a whole section at the back for like workshopping prompts. So if you are stuck or it's not working for you, or you want to build something more purpose built and less randomized, these are ways that you can adapt the guidelines. I definitely think that adds a lot because like people are a lot smarter than instructions are, right? Like they're going to figure out what works for them and figure out how to solve things themselves. And like the whole point of this deck is that like it gives the brain a puzzle to solve. How do these words fit together? What do they mean in the context of each other? And brains are really good at doing that, right? Like people are very smart and creative, and if you give them two random words, they're going to find a connection between them. So the deck is just about using the things that the brain's already good at and like letting the person be creative on their own terms rather than like trying to give them something that they have to do. It really is about like generating the brain in creative problem solving and creative patterning to like make up their own cool stuff, because it's gonna be so much cooler than anything you could put in the deck. Like I think the big difference between decks that I've designed and a lot of prompting decks is that prompting decks will give you a very closed prompt. It's like, here is a very specific idea.
Exactly.
Now execute it. Whereas mine is like, I'm not giving you the idea. I'm giving you like the beginnings of an idea. You figure out what it means. And you're going to get something so much better out of that than being like handed down a brief that you have to fill.
Yeah, it allows you to brainstorm, which is what we're trying to do as writers, as creators. Which we want to brainstorm. We want to get to where the journey leads us on our own. It's our journey. Yeah. I was going to say, I have to admit, at the same time, you like to give back because you got tiers here, especially when you get to certain points, you're giving it's giveaway this to teachers, it's plant trees, it's like, hey, look at these 3 guest writers. I feel like you're trying to make a community more than just trying to like put these cards out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say that like the reason that I got to turn this into my full-time job is just because there was a community that was like continuing to want to build things with this, and that was like, hey, giving me ideas for expansions that they wanted to see, often like creating their own creative tools, like so new ways of combining cards and like new like spreads that you can combine cards in. So yeah, very much like the community that's gotten behind this thing has been like life-changing for me. And some of the best ideas that we've developed have come from listening to the community and like working with them. That's why I like Backkit so much, is there is so much more of that focus.
Right.
But there is so much more of that focus of just like being able to be in conversation with your backers. But I was going to ask, Corissa, what is your creative process of writing like? Like, how do you go from the story that you have so far to like developing the next issues? What does that look like on your side?
I wish I had some profound thing to tell you. I literally just sit down and write, and whatever comes out of my head is pretty much what I write. I've been asked, what's your writing process, and what do you write things out ahead of time? No. My biggest writing process is the TV has to be paused, and that's about as far as I get. I wrote this as a role player, so like it was back and forth. The 2 characters are written by 2 different people, so I write Seraphina's actions and emotions and speech and everything, and my co-writer writes, for Draven. But we're role players, so we just sat down and write it. It wasn't intentional. We had a lot of fun with it. We realized in 2 years we had 11 novels. It was like, we should probably do something with this. And now here we are. That's my great writing. And I still don't know half of the time. Like, I had no idea for book 1 of the second series and the spinoff. And I woke up like a week ago and I was like, holy crap, I know what to write. And I got up and I wrote like 15,000 words. So it just comes whenever the hell it wants to. So
yeah, I feel that.
That's that flow though. That's that role playing flow. And it's funny because I use it on the show all the time as an example of how writing is, because it took me a while to figure out that I can take especially D&D, where you create your characters, and that's you beginning to write. That's you at a beginning stage of writing. You create these characters, you're playing in somebody else's sandbox, and you're making these characters that you want to be, that you are. Then as a DM, you start to work in the bigger sandbox, but you're creating in this world where you're allowing your story to flow, but you have rules you have to follow. Then finally, as the DM who does the homebrew, you finally stretch your hands and you start to do the world in a way where you want to do it, because you know what the rules are, so you can figure out what your rules are going to be for your world. And that's pretty much writing in a nutshell right there. You start off in a certain place, and as you keep writing and writing and writing, you expand and expand and expand. Until it was funny, because I was trying to explain writing to a friend who does role playing, and that just came out of nowhere. He was like, "Dude, Ralph, I never heard it like that." I'm like, "Wow, I should have thought of that."
Yeah, we come up with. So I'm the storyteller. I'm the one that leads the story. I write a chapter. I send it to her. She'll write back Draven's reactions to everything. He replies to whatever my character says. So my co-writer completes, the second half of the reactions of what's going on. But it's a crazy, it's just crazy how everything kind of just fit together. And sometimes we would jump around, we'd wake up, have a dream, be like, oh, we got to try this. And then I think at all times we have two different books going. We actually at one point had, we just finished it, but we had book 2 and book 5 of the spinoff going at the same time. So she can work on one and I can work on one. And last week I handed in the 15,000 words and we went over the 1 million words written in the story. So, a little crazy. But we, like you said, it's world building. I mean, we have rules. We have a subspecies of vampires, which is in this issue. They're called clotters. And I kind of did it because of, so I know it's a supernatural world, but the logic part of me was like, why do vampires bleed in movies if they have no heartbeat? So it always just bothered me. So, ours is their heartbeats every 6 hours, which is just enough to keep off rigor. Yeah, it is just enough to keep off rigor mortis. So they have thicker blood, which not only makes them stronger and more powerful. However, it does have one drawback for them, and I guess us. They have to feed directly from a human. Now, these are subspecies, so there's other vampires in the world. They have their own thing. But this subspecies, clotters, they have to feed directly from a human. Otherwise, they start to decompose like zombies. So they can't have a blood bag. You can't have animals. So the case is they have their souls still. It's not like Buffy where they have no souls. They actually have souls. So they would have to kill a human to survive. So because of that, to help their survival, clotters mostly turn like the most evil people there are. And so they'll change like murderers and sociopaths and the ones that know that they'll kill other humans to survive. But not only that, the worst part, I think, would be that if they bite you or taste your blood, they can track you anywhere like a homing beacon. And if you kill one of them, the entire family can track you down and they will. So surprise!
That's just trouble, man.
Yeah. So that's what happens in this. One tastes her blood, then she kills one of them, and now they're on a warpath to track down every vampire in the nest. And it can be 50, it can be 500, and so they're on their way. That's their goal, and they have to do it because they can go in the sunlight. They don't sparkle, but they can go in the sunlight because I don't know if anyone knows this. In mythology, there was literally nothing that said they couldn't go in the sun. They would just shadow creatures, so they can go. It doesn't burn them or anything. So ours, they can go in the sun. They don't like it, but they'll do it. Garlic doesn't bother them. They can go into your house without being invited. So they are truly the most ruthless of vampires that you can ever encounter. So so it's
you've impressed Son of Satan, because he's like, I can barely speak English. You have to wipe out the whole oof.
Yeah.
And sheesh.
It's a lot of work. Who's got time for that?
Yeah. And the only way to kill them fast is decapitation. The second way you can kill them is fire, but it takes the same as it would take a human to burn, which is not quick.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So you can burn them, but it's better just to chop off their heads. So yeah.
I love this because I used to play Vampire the Masquerade. And it's funny that the way you're saying of how you're writing with your partner is the way, because I used to play Vampire the Masquerade, but I was playing on a Yahoo group. I know I'm aging myself there. I used to play on a Yahoo group.
I was MySpace.
And what we would do was we would post, and then the other person would answer. Yep. Then I post, and as the DM, you just keep going like that. and
is
that's how
role
the story
playing.
will progress. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
I role played as Claire Redfield from Resident Evil 2 for 15 years
Woo.
before I started this. And I'm dyslexic. So I started as a one-liner, and then I worked my way up to 3 lines, and then para, multi-para. And then I said, there is no way on this earth I will ever get to novel layer. It is like 1,000 words. It is too long. And like now it's like 6,000 words written in a day. And it's like,
That's
nothing.
amazing.
Yeah.
Because as a person, when I sit down to write, I'm writing a short. It's always a short, and I know it. I already know as soon as I sit down what I'm writing. Sooner or later, it's gonna end, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, I have no idea where it's gonna end, and I'll tell you, and this is gonna make me sound like I belong in a rubber room, and it's quite possibly true. The characters in my head, Serafina controls everything, and there's only one time where it was evident that I had no control over what I was writing, because I was in book 4 or 5, I think it was 5, and I'm writing this scene. She walks into this room, and these things attached to her skin, and the floor is really funky and weird. And I was like, this makes no sense. I don't know why I'm writing this. And I was like, I have to start over. This makes no sense. And the character's like, just keep writing it. And I literally got to the end of it, and I was like, I have no idea just what I wrote, but that is like the coolest scene I ever wrote. And I sent it to my co-writer. She's like, where the hell did you come up with that? I was like, I had nothing to do with it. I'm like,
right.
Yeah.
I've been there myself. So they take over, and they want what they want.
Oh, she's a pain in my ass. So this is my warning. So we have everything but nudity. There's no nudity, but there's tons of cursing. And the review that's going to go on the back of my graphic novel from my mom is, I finally read your story, and besides all the swear words, it was pretty good. So there's my review for the back of the graphic novel. But yeah,
it looks really good. You really got something going here. And like I said in the green room, this thing reminds me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Supernatural having a team up.
Yep, it is. Our line is it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Supernatural in the Silent Hill town in the Resident Evil world. So
Woo!
It's good, yeah. Because so each book, now the books are continual, because I've been asked, are they continual or can you just buy? No, it's continual, but they're each a different environment. So book 1 is Silent Hill. They're in this town. I mean, not Silent Hill, but they're in a town that's like Silent Hill. It's merging with hell, so they can't get out. And there's all these creatures that are, hellhounds and zombies, zombie mermen, ghosts, skeletons, Anubis. So all these things are after them, and they can't get out. And then book 2, they're in a haunted asylum that they can't get out. It's overpowered by ghosts. And I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's not from this, but it made me think of this the other day. If you've ever, this is really aging me, but the game Seventh Guest. Did you ever play that? Yeah. So it's kind of like that. You have to figure out how to get out. But there's giant salamanders that are like the lickers in Resident Evil 2. There's ghosts. There's zombies. And then book 3 is pretty much Resident Evil 2. They are trapped in a town. There's more to it than they're letting on, but they think they're trapped in a town. They meet up with other survivors. They're trying to get through zombies and lab-created monsters and all of that freaky stuff. But there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, because it's kind of like somebody called it Romeo and Juliet, and I said it's Romeo and Juliet in hell. Like these characters, they're soulmates together, and they've been through different lives together, and they don't know this, but both their fathers are after them. She's an angel descendant, he's a demon descendant, and they're both after her because she was created from this angelic weapon that has the power of souls. And if they can get it from her, they could tip the scales of war in either heaven or hell's favor. There's actually other reasons for it, but I'm not allowed to give those away because I get in trouble for spoilers. So
I gotta say, we were talking about this in the green one as well. You have a lot of merch.
I do.
Look at how much stuff you can get.
Yeah, I mean, this that statue right there, these are all handmade statues. That's the only one that's ever going to be for sale. I have a clay artist that I've worked with for 6 years for other selfish reasons, and he agreed to make me the human statue, and he hates making humans, so that'll never be made again, unfortunately. But yeah, so we have a lot of merch. We have the gold-plated coins, we have pillows, there's hoodies and t-shirts and the add-ons. You can be drawn in as a tier for $145 or an add-on for $99 that you can be drawn in as a vampire, as a zombie, a zombie in issue 8, and you can either stagger on or you can pick your demise. You can pick how you get killed. So yeah, and not only that, you get the PDF 3 months, pretty much 3 months before anyone else even gets to see the comic. So
Oh wow, you really are trying to seduce people.
Yeah. And there's our gold-plated coin with Anubis.
So I'm guessing that you can come on here and you like these add-ons. You just can buy the add-ons.
Yeah. So there's something that we do that apparently a lot of other people didn't do, and I don't know why, but you can actually just there's a tier for issue 1. Like I don't know why not everyone has that, but there's a tier PDF for issue 1, a printed for issue 1, or then you can get issue 5. And all the other back issues are in the add-on. So if you want, let's say PDF for 1 and then get 2, you can get the PDF in 2.
That's actually a good idea to have like a tier for the first issue.
Yeah, and then we have, which is our most popular tier, is the catch-up tier. We have a catch-up for the PDFs. We have a catch-up for regular covers, and we have a catch-up for the metal covers. Yeah, he's sold out. Our cute angry Anubis.
Wow.
Yeah, he just got sold out. And he's cute. He's adorable. But yeah.
Dude, man, this is some Kickstarter you have.
Yes. And I get asked, I think I told you in the green room, everyone asked, why do you have so much merch? And I said, because I wanted it. And now it's tax deductible. So there you go. So.
That's what we got to remember as creators, that all this stuff is tax deductible because it's all part of the thing.
I'm obsessed with my story. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's good, because I like to say here on the Bit and Apple, we love passion. We love projects where you can actually see the passion. And girl, you can see the passion you have.
Yeah.
So I will say, so we did pass the stretch goal. So if you guys just buy a $5 PDF, first of all our tiers come with PDFs. So they come with their own black and white and color PDF for whatever you buy. But the stretch goal, you also get 16 other PDF issue ones.
Wow.
So for $5, you're going to get, even if you don't like my story, which you will, you'll have 16 other choices.
I see some familiar ones here.
Yeah, there's some really good ones. Nightwolf, Path of the Pale Rider. I mean, there's a lot of amazing ones in there. PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD is a really good book.
Yeah, so for $5, you really have nothing to lose. You will find a book you want in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then the next PDF. Oh, we just passed. I just realized you showed it. We passed the third goal. So now, no, if you're going the wrong way.
Okay.
But I just realized when I saw the total that I lose track. So
you passed the third goal. Okay.
Yeah. So everyone got that sticker, and now everyone gets. This is a black and white version of the spinoff that I had someone do for fun. So this is the what if story, and in our redemption story, just to give a hint of it, just to tell you what happens in the beginning. They were supposed to run away together and get away from their abusive parents, but Draven left to get a gun, and she was left alone in the house. So she wakes up, and her brother is possessed by a demon, killing her parents. So he goes after her. She calls Draven, says, "Don't come to the house." And of course, the first thing he does is go to the house.
Come to the house, yeah.
Yeah. She jumps out. It's like, thanks. So she jumps out the back window. He goes into the front door. He slips on her blood. He calls her name. She turns around to go back, and she gets hit by a car. She's in a coma for a couple months in a different city, and he gets arrested for her murder. So for 10 years, this is the first 4 pages. So for 10 years, for 10 years, they think the other one's dead. So they are, she trains as a supernatural hunter to get revenge on her brother for taking Draven away, and Draven becomes an assassin instead of going to jail. So that's pretty much what happens. And the weapon can't be activated if they're apart. So he moves closer to her without knowing it. It sets off an alert to angels and demons, and they trick them into going to the town together and then separate it into to a town that merges with hell. And there is a joke in issue 1 that not everyone's going to get because it's only funny to me. But you know how you watch a movie and you turn it on and instantaneously the news tells you what you need to know to go do whatever. So she wakes up from this dream that shows you what happens. She turns it on and instantaneously it tells her of these demon omens in the city she has to go to. But if you look really closely to the back of the TV, it is not plugged in. It is the angel outside the window that is creating it. And there's a hint on the next page because he says, "You're going there anyway." And she's like, "How the hell does he know I'm going there?" So he's the one that's making the newscast. And that's why they're tricking her to go to this town. And for anyone that's curious, each issue has an Easter egg from either a horror game like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, or a horror movie like Nightmare on Elm Street and Saw and Friday the 13th. So when the graphic novel comes out, whoever finds all of the Easter eggs first and posts it gets a free miniature 3D printout of Anubis. So
nice.
There's that.
You really work this. You want people to get your book.
Yeah, I do. It's a you know, I have a lot of faith in the story, and I get a lot of good feedback. And when you read it and you think that the characters sound like two completely different characters, I am not that good of a writer. That is the fact that I have a co-writer, and we have thought bubbles. And you know, some people said, "Oh, thought bubbles is so retro," and they are. But two things: one, the old thought bubbles were pretty much exposition of what was going on, or you know, something that you needed to know. These are actually into their head. So it's like reading a novel. I like to read the novels to get into the characters' heads. And this is where you get to know what they're thinking, the internal struggle. So it's kind of like I said before, it's a movie, you know, video. It's a movie, novel, and a comic book all wrapped into one. Oh, and that's the song we had written for our story. So the
guys
lyrics,
did a song too. Damn.
Yeah. The lyrics are written specifically for our two characters. It's $3 add-on. To get the download, and you get both the download and the instrumental version. And if you play, which you don't have to now because it's kind of late, but if you play the video, the background music is the song, the music in the back of the song.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, you got something going here. Folks, you got to go support this. It's an amazing book there.
And we're super easy to find. All you have to do is search Worthy Chaos, because we are the only thing that pops up in Kickstarter. So don't search Redemption. Trust me, it was a stupid title. 700 Redemption, but search Worthy Chaos, and we're the only thing that pops up.
I gotta admit, when I was searching for the book itself, I was running into a lot of trouble. But as soon as I realized you're Worthy Chaos, that made my life so much easier.
Yeah, it's a big difference. And so it's Worthy Chaos Redemption. So it's the easiest way to find it. But yeah.
Woo! That's a lot of stuff. Yeah. Oh my God. Peter,
I was trying to get all out before 8:30, so I'm like, you know.
Peter, I feel like you both of you guys are really passionate about getting people to get your stuff in their hands, because you know you're doing the same thing as well. As we were talking right before this, you know, you really are trying to show people this is what you can do with it. This is what we're doing. There's so many uses for this. You know, yeah. I personally use it all the time. Gage and I have used it on the show to do little story prompts and tell stories. And you did a poll for us, which I'll probably show the video of, and I'll give you guys a chance to do your own story, because I'm already working on something as we speak. And then we'll show it off for you guys again, to give you guys another chance to make sure to get yourselves one of these decks, or a couple of these decks, or a bunch of these decks, because you've done more than just the story engine deck and the lore deck. There's a bunch of them out there right now, right?
Yeah, so there's three main deck systems that we have going, and they all talk to each other in different ways. But the first was the story engine deck, which was really focused on more like character level storytelling. Who's the character? What do they want? What's the conflict to getting it? And what else are they going to run into along the way? And that's a really sort of flexible, fluid system for just working with that really character and motivation driven storytelling.
Right.
And then after that, we did Deck of Worlds, which is a world building deck, but looking at world building in a more like in more geographical sense, I guess. Like, so you can actually build up a literal map that you could explore through a role-playing game, or explore through writing, or draw.
Right.
But that map has some lore built into it, but it's really built around the geography of like what is where, and what is the history of that place, what is going on right now, and what will the future of it be.
The art is gorgeous.
Thank you very much. All the art that we have on the cover for Lore Masters deck is from the team of the Emberwind tabletop RPG. So nice. It's a tabletop RPG. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. I was a writer on it, and Derek Chung, the founder of Nomnivore Games, that makes Emberwind.
I was trying to figure out what the connection was with you guys and Emberwind, because we love Emberwind here.
Yeah, it's good.
We've interviewed him a couple of times, and we love Nomnivore Games. So
yeah.
I was wondering. I was like, okay, what's the connection?
Yeah, so I was the lead writer on Songweave Tapestry, and co-writer on the Hero Manual and Skies of Axia.
Nice.
And I did a lot of work on the Crossroads system to try and figure out a way to tell like a branching story. And just really enjoyed working on that. And yeah, and like we've done a lot of like we table together at conventions fairly often.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and Derek and I just like we meet up every now and then to just like catch up or like plan projects. Yeah, and he was kind enough to let me raid the Emberwind art library, and we may be adding a couple new pieces to the certain
Nice.
panels of the box too.
So okay, I like this. I like where this is going. Is there going to be like an Emberwind type crossover type of thing?
There have been some conversations. Where there have been some
Ooh.
very early conversations, but that's all. That's literally can't say more than that.
Okay, don't worry. I'll get him on the show. We'll talk. But because I can see it, I can see. I just love to see that too. Oh man, dude, I love this set. I love how you're doing this. I got saying I was telling you in the green room. I love the fluidity of it. The lore just like bounces, like comes off. And it comes off in a way where it's not a difficult process. It's not pulling teeth. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. I was looking for that pulling teeth. Yeah.
I think the thing that works about it is it like it kind of is a game, right? Like it introduces an element of play.
Exactly.
And I think as creators we can get so up in our own heads about like this needs to be good enough to publish or it needs to be good enough for this. And you start from the end product of like what I need is like a good publishable thing that people will like.
Exactly.
And the moment you do that, you don't give yourself permission to like write through all the bad drafts that you need to get through to get to a good draft.
Which is important.
If you start with that pressure of like, here's where it needs to get to, it's really hard to just let it be what it is in the moment while you're exploring the story or furnishing the world or, kind of like filling the cupboard of your writing with ingredients that you're going to use in the story, which is what I do with lore, right? Like I like to stock my cupboard with all these cool ideas and then and see how they connect to each other. And then I'll sort of make a meal out of them that feels more like a cohesive thing. And yeah, I feel like it's that element of play of like, these are cards, you can turn them, you can tuck them, you can do different things with them. You're engaging not just your brain, but like your hands and your eyes in a way that in writing, sometimes it's just text on page. This lets it be a bit more of a playful process. And I think that helps people like just give themselves permission, I guess, to experiment or start creating or do things differently than they would have otherwise. Like writing can be a very lonely and sometimes unrewarding process for people, right? Like a lot of us, like we write because we love it, but we also write because, maybe we're trying to like talk to people through our writing. Maybe we're doing it because we want to feel a certain amount of success or acceptance or validation for our talents as writers. And writing can be one of those things where if you forget to enjoy it for itself, if you forget to just enjoy the process and sit in the process and let that be its own joy, it's really easy to lose motivation. And I see a lot of writers burn out because like they're writing and if they're honest with themselves, what they're writing for is like they want the followers, they want the sale of the book, or they want something like that. And those are great motivations. Those are totally fair, but you won't get to those points if you don't just learn to love writing, because for a long time you're gonna have to do it without any reward, right? For a long time you have to do it just because you love doing it. And I think there is something special about like making that process fun again, remembering to make it playful and creative and give yourself permission to sit in it and enjoy it.
I think you hit upon something really big here. And I feel like a lot of people forget that there's a process that has to happen in order for you to get from point A to point B. And a lot of people, instead of doing the process, they jump the boat or they jump the ship or they jump the shark. And they decide, well, this isn't really important. But I'm like, that's the important part. You need to get through that to get to that.
Yeah, I feel like because, most people, what you see is the finished product of something, right? Like you see a finished book or you see a finished, so it's hard to forget like, oh, behind that thing that looks really cool and complete and polished was like, 1,000 hours of self-doubt and frustration and bad drafts and reworking. And I think that because the end product looks easy and good and finished, it's hard to remember like, oh, it wasn't easy. It was a lot of work. And it's normal for it to be hard, right? Like it's normal to have days where like you're running your head into a writing problem and not getting anywhere. Like that is writing, right? Part of writing is doing the work even when it's not going well and you're not getting something out of it and sticking through that. So
it's funny that you say that,
something to help break those barriers and make it fun.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because one of the because you always get the, I know you get it too, and I know Carissa, you get it too. This whole concept of how do you write, what do you do to write, and then you give them the answer you're supposed to give them, which is you write, just write, just write, and people look at you like you have 10 heads, and it's one of the reasons I started the Written Writ, my other show, is because there's this final step that we all have to go through. It's called the journey of writing, We become a writer because we take this journey to become a writer. And yet nobody talks about that journey to become the writer. Everybody talks about this is the steps you follow to be the writer, but nobody talks about the fact that here's the journey, and you need to take that journey to become the writer. And that's when you give the advice to people of just write, they look at you like, what are you talking about? Just write. I'm not just write. The more you write, the better you get.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't write to write novels. I didn't write to write a comic book. Mm-hmm. I just wrote because I was obsessed with the role play, and it kind of went a little bit out of control. So
yeah,
a little bit, million words without even thinking about it. So yeah, in 2.5 years. So whoops.
And most of the times when I'm writing something, that's where it comes from. It comes from this I want to write it because I want to write it.
Yeah.
Then, because people always tell me, dude, why haven't you published anything? I'm like, well, I'm busy.
Busy writing.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, like on writing and publishing on the Venn diagram are like, I think we think of real writing as the place where they intersect, and that's not true.
Yeah.
Real writing is the writing that you do.
Exactly.
And if you want to publish, sure, that's its own thing. And I think that like it's one way of feeling rewarded and validated for your writing. It is far from the only one, and it's definitely one that I think we overemphasize from a creative perspective, right?
Exactly.
Like, publishing is its own activity. It's its own completely, almost completely separate activity.
And it's funny because then we start to put blockades on ourselves. Because then somebody will go, I can't be a writer. I'm like, do you write? And then they go, yeah, well, you're a writer. Now, are there different levels of writing? Just like in video games, there's different levels. You could be the writer, published writer, author. There's levels of writing that you can reach, but as long as you're writing, you're a writer.
I don't call myself a writer. I call myself a storyteller. But my co-writer is like, you're writing it. But yeah, I'm writing it. She goes, you're not doing it. You're not speaking it. And I was like, no, I know. But I feel like her novel, her writing could be in a novel, whereas mine is perfectly written for a comic book. It converts really well. It tells the story. I'm in charge of where the story goes. And
still a writer.
I guess I just don't feel like a writer. I feel like a storyteller that just got lucky and somehow a comic book got created.
Look, folks, we have Ben in a car. Ben, how you doing?
Hey, I'm in a car.
Are you okay over there? We're getting to worry about you.
Yeah, I'm in a car. I ended up. I was coming home from Cape Cod, where I was hanging out, and the traffic was atrocious because it's 4th of July weekend. So I'm sorry, everybody. Hi, everyone. Sorry.
Ben, you're coming on. We've been having a fabulous conversation on writing. I'll ask you about your process, but at first, what we should do is tell the people what you have. Go for it.
Sure. So it's not exactly a venereal disease, technically. Oh wait. So we're doing a Kickstarter right now, which I mean, for all intents and purposes, is essentially as bad as a VD. It's called the Book of Dave, and it's the 24th. You know what? I feel like I just got on here and I just broached this whole thing, and you guys are having a great conversation. I'm in a car, I'm making a spectacle, and now I'm talking about my book. So I feel like an absolute potty word person, and
this is a great book. Give them your spiel. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. So it is the Book of Dave is the 24 hours before this particular god in this cult is coming home, right? He's coming back. So it's this boy, Kristen May, kind of just bracing himself for the return, which has been spoken of for generations, and now he happens to be there when it's happening. And so it plays on doomsday culture, plays on the idea of cognitive dissonance, of what you do when the information that you're getting is different than the information that you were brought up to believe. And sort of the fallout, and it gets a lot bigger, crazier, wilder. Obviously, things sort of escalate. And at the heart of it, it's a coming-of-age story about this boy who is coming into his own and understanding who he is as an individual, while the world around him is going absolutely fucking bananas.
Dude, I gotta say, like the first time I heard the spiel for the Book of Dave, I was like, damn, and I'm surprised. Actually, I've seen stories like this, but I've never seen anybody tackle it the way you have.
Oh, thanks. Well, like which part? If unless you were just saying that to be nice, and then I put you on the
Oh
spot.
no, the whole thing. It's the concept. Like I've seen people cover it as part of a story. I've never seen somebody cover it as the story. This is okay. So the God's supposed to come. He doesn't come. What the hell happens to those people? Like I've seen how it affects in another story, but I've never seen somebody go, okay, I'm going to tell the story exactly about this.
Yeah, well, and it was super. I don't know, man. It was just like the other thing too is thank you so much for reposting it and for all the reposting that you do.
Oh, no problem.
There are very few people who are as actively supportive as you guys are. You well as Fit and Apple, and I mean, if you run a Kickstarter, you find out real quick, who you're annoying and who.
That's true. That's really true. We all know that one.
Yeah. And ultimately, like on the other end of that is not only who's there to support, because people do support, but like who's really down to make sure that people get the recognition for some of these projects, and not just mine, like all the ones that you guys put out. So thank you for continuing to do that over and over and over again.
No problem.
And Ralph is one of the real ones.
We love finding passion, and you guys just showcase that passion. It seeps from your projects.
Yeah, you hope, right? Like, yeah, for sure. So because the whole cult doomsday cult thing, right? Like someone asked me too, they're like, well, is it Judeo-Christian type of thing? Are you and it's like, well, I guess if that's what you grew up with, then that's what you're gonna see.
Exactly.
If you grew up in a Jewish household, which I grew up in half Jewish, half Christian, you're gonna see pieces of that. If you grew up in Quaker Philadelphia in an Amish country, like you're gonna see pieces of that, because it at the end of the day, there is something that was written before you're living in the now of it, dealing with the consequences and repercussions in a very real sense, instead of this semantics sense that scholars peruse these texts for, and then what happens to us as people. The biggest thing that was interesting about this was, I guess I kind of just assumed that when people found out that whatever Dave, right? Like so the name of the book is Book of Dave, because the idea is that Dave is such a sort of ubiquitous, common name that
I thought it was brilliant.
Oh, thanks, man. Well,
because you could have picked any name, but I feel like it would have meant something else. But as you picked the Book of Dave, it's like, oh, I get it.
I'm just trying to sell to all the Daves out there. Like, I'm just trying to really hone in on the Dave market. Next one's gonna be Book of Steve, and I'm just gonna write down the list, and then just alienate the hell out of Eileen's and stuff. I don't know. So basically, it also came from remember. Does anyone on the panel remember the Cheech and Chong sketch? Dave's Not Here.
Yeah.
So that was kind of it too. It was Dave's not here, man, and then Dave's really not there, man. Hold on, let me ask for a second. Hey, are you guys closing up? No, I was closing until 10. Awesome, thanks. I have to get gas. So not only am I in a car, but I'm at.
I noticed you stopped, so I'm like, okay, he must have stopped somewhere.
I am so sorry, everyone.
Dude, I'm just happy you were able to make it on and talk a little bit about your book. And of course, you're more than welcome to like, I think, what do you got? 10 days left? Yeah, I got a couple more shows coming. You want to come be guest host? You can be guest host.
You were so nice to ask me to do this one, and then have you? Cape Cod traffic is just an asshole. I
was telling them before the show. I said, I think he's on vacation. He's trying to get home before.
That's how much you mean to me. Is I left my family in paradise, Cape Cod, just to be here with you.
So that says a lot, folks. That's a lot of passion right there. That's what you should support. The Book of Dave.
What did I miss? What are y'all doing?
Dude, you got three great projects with yourself, I guess. You got, of course, Peter doing the story engine deck, which is a fascinating thing. Peter, give us the spiel again so that people can know what we're talking about, because we're getting near the end part where we should be wrapping things up. Go for it.
Well, Story Engine Deck is a creative tool for coming up with your own story prompts and storytelling ideas using 5 simple card types. And like right now in particular, we're crowdfunding the Story Engine Lore Masters deck, which is for creating these big, massive webs of lore where you can connect the creatures of your world to different locations and factions and figures and objects and materials, artifacts, gods. You can put it all together, map it out in a really fun way, and maybe get some creative prompts that would get you thinking in world building, storytelling ways that you otherwise wouldn't get to explore.
Great.
It's a really fun project, and you can find it at storyenginedeck.com/lore. If you want to check out our 2 previous deck systems, which is the Story Engine deck and the Deck of Worlds, you can find that at just storyenginedeck.com. We have free demos of both of them if you want to like download it and try out the PDFs. And it's got written bit Ralph's approval.
Oh my god! Who did the design on like the product design? It's great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do the graphic design on it along with a buddy of mine, Zach, who helps out with that. And then all of the artwork is from the tabletop role-playing game Emberwind. They let us license their art library for it.
Dude, we love Emberwind. We love the art is beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have to agree with Ben here. One of the things that I love is the art for it. The way you set up the box. Everything just feels epic.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to communicate that feeling of like when you've had just enough of the details of your world come together that you start to see it and
Exactly.
It feels exciting and like you want to see more. That's what I was trying to go after with the visuals. And also like the reason I did the multi-panels, like lore means so many different things, right? Like lore can be your characters, the histories, the events, the factions. It can mean so many different things. So I wanted to have a cover that encapsulated like we've got a hero, we've got an environment, we've got this massive cosmic force deity thing, we've got this creature monster, we've got this meeting, we've got this cult. Like I wanted to get a lot of different things across, and that definitely meant like, you know, I come from webcomics, so I do know how to work with panels, and I'm like, I'm going to panel this. We're going to pull a bunch of different panels and represent a variety of things.
Just amazing. You know, I love it because, you know, I have it right here. And like I was saying, Gage and I love to like throw this stuff out there and then start creating stories. It's so much fun, you know, and I love the fact that you got us the video for us to pull this together, and I'm gonna go look for it while Corissa, you tell them, the audience, who you are on all the beautiful things. Give them the spiel.
I am Corissa Grant. I am from Worthy Chaos. I wrote Worthy Chaos Redemption. It's a story of Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Supernatural in Silent Hill in the Resident Evil world. And they fight everything from hellhounds to Anubis to zombie mermen and ghosts and zombies and giant salamanders and everything you can pretty much think of, while they try to survive against their demon father and their demon angel. And it's a survival horror adventure, and you kind of get to see the limits of what someone would do to save somebody that they love, and what they would go through, and how much they would put up with, and all that stuff. So it's a nonstop action with gore and a little bit of comedy, kind of sarcastic characters. But
right up our alley. We're all sarcastic people.
Yeah.
You really packed a lot. How many pages is this particular project?
So this issue is 5. It's the shortest one we have. It's 24 pages. The other ones range between 28 and 36 pages. I don't charge any extra for it, but what happened is it's coming from a novel. So I have to end it in a specific spot that I want it to end it to torture my readers. So I have to go a couple pages to do that. But it's 45 issues already written for series 1. And we release it about every other month. This is issue 5. Issue 6 is already done and will be released August 15th. And then issue 7, the last of book 1, will be in October and ends on Halloween. And Halloween will be 1 year in comics. So right now I've only been doing this 7 months. So.
Oh, that's great. Do you want to put it eventually into an omnibus?
In a what?
Like collected edition, all of them.
A graphic. Yeah, it's going to be a 222-page graphic novel released on Halloween. And it's going to have all of the pages are glossy 80-pound weight paper. So these are not cheap. I was told, you're new, you should do, the newsprint and make it lighter and cheaper. And I was like, screw that. So the art is way too good. It's very dark art and it just looks so good on glossy paper that I just couldn't compromise that. So
Corissa, yeah. Who's the artist on this?
This is Jonas DaCosta. It's his first paid job, and he's very dedicated to it. And I'm very lucky to have him because he's fast as all hell. And my wallet's not as happy he's fast, but I am. So,
Corissa, you can't honestly don't say nice things about him because then people are going to.
What I
said, and you're not going to be able to get him for the. It's like
see, that's what I said. So. Yeah, I'm hoping he has this horrible, sick loyalty for being the first one. We're going with that for now. But yeah, I'm super lucky to have him, and nobody else hire him. So he's awful, everybody. So
yeah. I see we lost our pal Ben.
Yeah,
that would happen eventually.
Yeah, I hope I was a little nervous with him driving and talking on the phone, but
at least he parked and got to the side. I gotta admit, I relaxed when he did that.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes Ben in the car.
We were worried about you, man.
I was so shocked at how
it scared him off, man. I'm telling you. Yeah.
All right, folks, I'm gonna go play the beautiful video that Peter made for us, so we can check out how the Lord deck works in action. Here we go.
Okay, we are going to pull a Lore Masters deck prompt for an upcoming live stream. So here we go. You are going to create a Legion, and the Legion is trying to reclaim or restore a significant or sacred location. That location is a Colosseum. All right, a Legion trying to restore or reclaim a significant or sacred Colosseum. And this Legion believes they are above or beyond the law. And they are master trainers of a creature. That creature is... Yeah, I think I'm going to go with dinosaur. Yeah, we're going to go with dinosaur. So you can choose which dinosaur, but they are dinosaur trainers, and that's sort of part of their army. And they're known for charitable work. There we go. All right, that is our prompt. Legion, with an agenda to reclaim or restore a significant or sacred location, which is a Colosseum. They believe they are above the rule of law. They are known for charitable work, and they are master trainers of some kind of dinosaur your pick. And that's what you can work with. Thank you.
Dude, I loved it. It was beautiful. I sent it over to Gage. Gage is working on something. I'm working on something. And folks, you're going to have fun with what we come up with. We're going to share it today, but I'm going to give myself a little bit of time. I'm also going to challenge all you folks, because, we want to see what you're going to come up with. What's your story? What is it that you have thought of with this beautiful pull of the cards? What did you come up with this? I actually sent it to both Corissa and Ben. If they want to, they can go do something with this. I know you guys are both busy at the moment, but you're more than welcome to.
I was just thinking, I'm like, how is there a way you can do a contest with, you put together all the entries and you collect a couple and you put together, just some nice little thing with the top winners. You have the most creative people obviously backing this project, and then they're going to come up with some cool stuff. I don't know. It sounds like this. I'm totally in the dark right now. Not just, but as I'm looking
in more ways than one.
Yeah. I'm in the car. I don't know if you guys know that.
If only there was some kind of like label you could have next to your name, and then we'd know.
I gotta say, it sounds like a great idea. So, folks, I have a huge vault of stuff here that I've gotten over the years, and if you guys go and do what Ben just said and send it right in, and we're gonna look through all these things, and we'll send you something. One of our nice little exclusives back here. We'll send you something if you send in the best story.
Ooh.
The gauntlet has been thrown.
Exactly. You guys got it. I'm working on mine's now, and if mine's is better than yours, I'm going to keep it. Okay.
No subjectivity.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. The gauntlet has been thrown. You saw the prompt. Do something. Share it with us, and we'll see what you get.
But how are they going to do it unless they back the Kickstarter?
Well, they definitely should back the backer kit, yeah, because Peter's using backer kit.
Yeah, giving backer kit a try. Good experience so far.
And folks, backer kit is amazing. You've heard Peter say all the beautiful things about backer kit, so go and support him on backer kit. They're doing really well, and if we get them to 300,000, that opens another beautiful stretch goal.
Yeah, we're gonna plant 3,000 trees, baby.
Exactly. See, conscientious. Let's create something. Let's help the world.
It definitely feels weird to like or rather, it feels nice to make a world building deck that is not like actively depleting the real world of resources. So replanting, and usually we work through Eden Reforestation that does plants in or that plants trees in coastal Madagascar, where there's a lot of like currently under threat parts of the ecosystem, and where like mangroves are really, really important and crucial to like local ecology, local industry. And yeah, we like them. They also like actually maintain their tree planting projects in a way that makes them a lot more sustainable, rather than just kind of like dumping trees in places that are where they're not necessarily going to have a big ecological impact. So we're a fan of the charity that we're working through that one.
I've never heard of this, but I love this. This is like
beautiful, right?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Is this the first time you guys have done this, or did you use that for the other Kickstarters as well, Backer Kit?
So we've done 3 decks, and yeah, we used Backer Kit. It was the first time we used Backer Kit, but we used Kickstarter for the last 2 for Deck of Worlds and the Story Engine deck.
And did you tree planting thing then as well? Have you done that before?
Tree planting we did for the first time for because our Deck of Worlds was delivering late, and we were most of it had gotten out, but we were going to be possibly have like not having people with decks in hand by the time we were doing holiday shipping. We wanted to basically not sell the game through our website until every backer had it, right? We wanted backers to be the first people to have it in their hands before we did regular shipping. So one of the ways that we did, rather than doing like a sale where we offered discounts, our big Christmas thing and Boxing Day thing was to do tree planting. So for every deck sold, we planted 1 tree. Nice. And we did that for, I think for Black Friday, and then again for the Boxing Week sale. And we liked it enough that we decided to go back and do it again. So that's a new one for us.
I've talked to Kickstarters, whatever, crowdfunders for a long time, and that has got to be one of the most ingenious and thoughtful and original stretch goal, or just addition to what is already an exciting thing. That's what a great idea, and I'm stealing it.
Do it, honestly, do it. Let's plant some more trees, friends.
Artists. And then I'm gonna steal this idea. That's
I gotta say, the other one that you have, Peter, is great too, where you get this deck into the teacher's hands.
Yeah, so that one we've been doing since the first Kickstarter. The first Kickstarter had a much smaller goal, and then it went above that to the point where I was like, I am out of stretch goal ideas. I don't want to promise any more content because I don't want this to be late. And if I add more stuff, I need to design more stuff, and that could projects have sometimes collapsed under like success where like the creators start to dream very big and bigger than their ability to deliver, and I really didn't want to do that. So I cut off at a certain point what was going to be like add-on stretch goals or new decks expansions, and I was like, what I can do is make some decks available and through give back basically to schools. So every launch we've done copies of the deck for educators for free shipping worldwide. There will be a form where you can enter your school's information. We try to prioritize schools in either areas that don't have a lot of resources or that have just a lot of students in need, even if they have resources, but there's just like a lot of students who need stuff. And then after that, they with like basically a weighted lottery where first priority goes to those, second priority goes to schools that have resources. And but everybody does get a ballot in the draw, and then we ship those out. And currently, our deck, the main story engine deck, is available as a PDF. The full deck is available as a PDF to any educator anywhere on the planet.
Nice.
If you sign up for a demo at storyenginedeck.com/demo and just click educator, you get the full PDF with lesson plans. It's shrunk down to be a bit more classroom sized so that you're not using as much paper or printing budget. We're like mindful of people's printing budget. But yeah, there's an educational tool. We love educators. Like I learned to write in a classroom because I had a teacher who like noticed that I liked writing and spent the time and attention to like nourish that gift. And it's just a thing that we
That's
were
nice.
getting back to.
That's nice there too, because the teacher, one of the teachers I had, decided to make sure I didn't write and said something to me, and it kept me from writing for a while. So I appreciate that.
Well, that sucks. I'm so glad that you're here writing and proving them wrong.
Oh, definitely. You know, after he said it, I was like, oh, I'm going to show you. But I have a problem with authority, so it makes total sense.
On a deep level. I'm writing a book about. I don't know if I forget if I can swear or not. I'm writing a book about fucking off ultimate authority. But teachers, I mean,
then you owe Ralph about $20 now.
Oh, swear jar.
Go ahead, Ben. What you were saying?
Well, it's teachers really can make a huge difference one way or the other. I mean, you catch them. You know, unfortunately, it's a profession that the burnout rate is super duper high, and it's people go. No one goes into teaching to be like, I can't wait to ruin dreams today, right? But man, if you get the one who they're in their prime and you take you under their wing, that changes the world. Yeah. That's all.
Definitely.
But and especially if their name is Dave. No, you know what? I just want to. I'm in awe. I'm like on this panel of really talented people going. I've got a little book. I got a book, and it's gonna write.
Your book is really good. I like the book of Dave. I like the idea.
I'm very proud of it, and I think a part of it too is having a little bit of what what was it, the teacher who told you not to, so you get a little what's it called, authoritarian.
Oh, I have a problem with authority.
well it's oppositional defiant. That's what it is. Oppositional defiant, and it's a good fuel. It can be a really good fuel.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
So yeah, so sorry I was late, everybody, and I wish. I feel like, did I only hear two people's?
Did you what?
There was wasn't there a third?
Oh, of course, it's Nat. You know Nat. He's the other guest host.
Oh, gotcha. I can't. I literally.
No one remembers me, Ralph. You know how this goes. You know exactly how this goes.
Don't you say that. Don't you ever say that. I'm not that burnt out teacher who doesn't care about your.
I should have tricked you. I was like, it's Kadma. She's hiding.
Yeah. That is a thing that Kadma has done to me in the past, which has not happened in a while, and I'm starting to think that it's never going to happen again, which is the perfect thing. I know Kadma's planning that so that she can finally get me.
I was like, dude, you can actually believe that? Okay, I'll leave you alone.
The perfect ruse. She hasn't done it to me in 2 years, and you know this whole pandemic thing. Yeah, right. It
was a plan, right?
The whole thing was planned by Kadma to throw me off my game.
She missed you at New York Comic Con because we knew you were there, but she didn't get to find you.
One of my favorite memories about you guys in New York Comic Con was walking down the street and catching you at like a 7-Eleven, and and then just all of us gearing up for the show. Because if you are a regular con goer, you know to hit up anything prior to just get water, coffee, and protein bars and like just anything that's not a hot dog.
And of course, Roaming Tony's hiding in the chat, Mr. Roaming Tony.
He roams no more. He has settled in the chat.
Exactly. But yeah, Ben, we all know that we got to go in and get the snacks, then go to the con, because you know you're not leaving that table if you're doing the table.
That's the tough thing, right? It's like if you're doing poorly, you don't want to leave the table because you make money. If you're doing great, you don't want to leave the table because you're making money. And then by the end of the day, you're so hungry that the next day is a wash. It's a balance. It's a very delicate balance. It's like, does anyone know what's the with the stomach and an overactive digestion system, thyroid, something, and it's like you have to eat just enough, but can't eat too much. This is enough. Cons are a delicate balance, especially when you're my age. I'm 36 now, guys. All right, I've hit that age where it's like the classic sneeze and your back goes out. So I just want to make sure.
I'm 45. I don't want to hear it.
I was waiting for somebody to say something.
So Corissa needs to teach me how to better take care because this is the lesson. Well, I'm gonna. You know what it is? I'm gonna read your book. I'm gonna get the little tidbits that you put in there because obviously it's a survival story, so I need to survive.
Yeah.
I was listening. I was in a car, but I was listening.
I did share your links on my Facebook because you're actually on my friend list, which I didn't know.
Ben is everybody's friend. People just don't know it.
Yeah.
Friend you haven't met. Corissa, what's your last name? I can't read it because it's very small on my screen.
Corissa Grant.
Oh, yep. I've seen some of your posts before.
Yeah, I hear that.
Corissa is great. She posts a lot of people's projects. Corissa, I have to tell you one thing though. You need to post your project a little bit more on your site. Because finding your project on your site, I was like, where is this thing?
I never post my own stuff. Yeah, I don't. Ever. Like I rarely ever post anything.
So I'm sorry. Did the other day? Did you post a thing saying like drop your Kickstarter links in the comments?
Yeah. Or not.
He's not in the car anymore, so I think his. Oh, there we go.
Hi. Yes, I did.
You did. Okay. Yep. And did I comment back? Thank you for doing this because you give a platform to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably did, and I didn't connect the name, so. I if I had known, I could still add yours. I only have 10 days left, but you only have 10 days left. I have 13, but I have a highly recommended active Kickstarters at the bottom of my page, so I can add yours. And I can add yours too, Peter. It doesn't have to be Kickstarter. Not that you need my help with your 300,000.
Dude, that's what I love here. We raise each other up, folks.
Yeah. So I do have highly recommended it. And then whenever I'm in interviews and they show the bottom of the page, everyone sees it, or they can go to the bottom and send it. And I put things in updates too and stuff like that. So
so like again, just the same thing of what the Apple does. It's like there's a lot of people vying for that dollar and not nearly as many of them helping to that dollar, right? And it's understandable, but man, the selflessness that comes from doing that is massive. I'm about to pick up my wedding ring, you guys.
Whoa.
I am.
That's a prestigious moment.
Kind of. I've been with my fiance for 9 years, so we're kind of just doing it so that people stop asking.
Yeah.
Stop asking.
And it came because I'm just getting back into my building, and it came in the mail. And so you guys are here with me. I'm getting
the unboxing.
So that means you're all my best man and woman.
It's an honor.
I do try.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. To be my ring bearer.
I can dress in a bear outfit, so yeah, no problem.
Oh, how has that not been done? A ring bearer, man.
I'm giving ideas, folks. Come on.
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity, man. Come on, ring bearer.
Woo! There it goes.
I like it.
There you go. You got the spotlight.
Oh, hey, I thought I lost it.
It's like, I can see Ben going, why am I looking at myself?
You guys absolutely got to see. I'm going to go in an elevator, so I'm going to lose you anyway. I'm all modes of transportation.
Oh, you'll never lose us.
So Ben, before you go in there, tell the folks where to find you. Go. Too late.
Kickstarter. So close. It's so far.
That was good. So Peter, go ahead. So hit the folks with the links and where to find you, because of course, they can get you at the backer kit, but they might want to look you up and all the good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me at lookitspeter.com, and you can find Story Engine Deck at storyenginedeck.com, and the top of the website we got a little banner right now for the backer kits. You can just click on that and find your way to the backer kit.
There you go, folks.
Thank you.
Of course, it's a beautiful thing. I love these cards. If you are a writer, this will be a great tool for you. If you are a D&D person, a DM, this will come in really handy for you as well. Even if you are just a player, the lore deck will help you flesh out that character you want to play. All right, Corissa, tell them where to find you.
I am everywhere and nowhere at the same time. So I'm on Kickstarter under Worthy Chaos. I am on Twitter with I haven't been on there long, but I have 5.3 thousand followers, and
nice.
You can it's at Worthy_Chaos, because some bastard stole Worthy Chaos, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that's possible, but. And then we do have a Facebook group, Worthy Chaos, where artists are allowed to post their art for commission, and
nice.
other creators can post their Kickstarters or their projects or their backer kick. Because even though it's our group where we support all indie creators and we welcome everyone to come in and just post your stuff. We just started 5 weeks ago, so I only have like 600 members, but everyone's there to
decent for just starting a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was like, you guys don't even know who the hell I am. I don't know why you do. I appreciate it greatly that you're there. I was just surprised because I was like, why would I even need my co-writer's like, make a group. I was like I need one more thing to handle. She has the best suggestions, but I'm the one that handles everything. But I'm like, okay, I'll do it fine. And then I did it, and now I'm glad I did, because I post pages and covers and rewards and updates, and everyone seems to be pretty active in there, and I can help other indie communities and stuff. The only thing I'm pissed about is I did not know that once you make it private, you can't make it public.
I didn't know that.
Now,
okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and because I went to try to make it public, and it says, "Oh, for the safety of your members, we can't make it public because it's already." I'm like, fuck off. But so, but it pisses me off because then you can't share. You can't share posts or whatever. So I tried, but whatever. So anyway, so yeah, find Worthy Chaos, and searching Kickstarter is the easiest way, because I got to be completely honest with you, we always have a pre-launch or an active page. So if you literally go on there and there's nothing active or pre-launch, then wait 24 hours and there will be. So that's all that takes. But also you can add me, Corissa Grant. I am only been in it 7 months, but somehow I've been on over 80 shows, and so wow. I like to help. Yeah,
I'm tired of just doing my own show.
I've been doing 2 to 3 a day since I launched, and then before that it was 2 to 3 a day for the pre-launch. So I get like I think 2 days. I get tomorrow off. So
it's 4th of July.
Yeah, and then I have a con this weekend, Friday through Sunday, and then I have Monday off, and I was like, bonus. And then I'm back to 2 to 3 a day. So, but yeah, so you can add me, Corissa Grant. And if you're new and just getting started, I am more than happy to help you get on shows, or I am the unofficial free PR person. So,
dude, we all need a free PR person.
Right? Rob Murtari is like, I'm going to hire you for PR. I was like, I'll just do it. I'm like, I don't care. Like
Kevin is saying, ooh, good to know. Grab snacks when tabling. Got to remember for that Saturday. Of course, Saturday is Eternal Con, where we'll be at Eternal Con this weekend, hanging out with the guys, talking about a lot of comic book stuff, even doing a panel, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Stuff happens. Ask the Izzy bird.
Dogs
He
happen.
knows better.
Stuff seems to always happen, man.
Oh my God, yeah, I know. So EternalCon this weekend, we shall be there. Go have some fun. Of course, Wednesday we will have the EternalCon show. So come check out who will be at EternalCon. We'll have a bunch of people here who will be there at EternalCon besides ourselves. And of course, we can't say goodbye before we say check out the Book of Dave. Ben is a great guy. He's a great writer, and I love this concept that he has. What happens after the deity who's supposed to show up does not show up?
You know what? Ask people in the South, because they have the what is it? The rapture every 6 months, and when it doesn't happen, it gets a new date.
It's coming.
Yeah, I remember. I live in the South, and I moved here from New York, so it was a big culture shock. And I remember every billboard on the way: "Rapture is coming, May something, whatever." And I was like, "That should be interesting," and then it never happened. So
of course, it never happens.
Yeah.
And of course, we've been talking about here. You guys should go check out Emberwind. We did a couple of interviews with them. Go check that out. They are amazing. The concept for Emberwind is just amazing itself. And dude, you DMs who just want to play a game, this allows you to play and be storyteller. And of course, it is a different format. It is not Dungeons and Dragons, just so you guys know. Am I frozen? Am I stuck?
Frozen.
I hear you.
You're frozen.
Okay, good. As long as you hear me, we're good, because I can say Emberwind is beautiful. Go check it out.
There you go.
That's all that matters. And I think with that, we are done. So, folks, remember, if you check out the beautiful poll that our friend Peter did here with Story Engine Deck, and you write a story and you send it in, or you do a video with it and tag us in it, we will check it out. We will decide who is the winner, and you guys get a beautiful something from Bit and Apple TV, because we have a lot of beautiful exclusive stuff that we end up having over here on the side. Stuff that I buy, stuff that I get. Hey, who knows? We might even let you pick. But you gotta be in it to win it. Mr. Nat, anything else before we go?
He does talk, right?
He does talk. He does.
Okay.
I think he's still tired from being back from Malaysia.
I didn't know if it was like Penn or Teller, and he's just there in the background.
All right, folks. I am gonna do something different today. I'm gonna leave you with that poll, that video that our friend Peter did for us, and till next time. Maybe you'll see us at the end of this. I don't know.
Okay, we are going to pull a Lore Masters deck prompt for an upcoming live stream. So here we go. You are going to create a Legion, and the Legion is trying to reclaim or restore a significant or sacred location. That location is a Colosseum. All right, a Legion trying to restore or reclaim a significant or sacred Colosseum. And this Legion believes they are above or beyond the law. And they are master trainers of a creature. That creature is... Yeah, I think I'm going to go with dinosaur. Yeah, we're going to go with dinosaur. So you can choose which dinosaur, but they are dinosaur trainers, and that's sort of part of their army. And they're known for charitable work. There we go. All right, that is our prompt. Legion, with an agenda to reclaim or restore a significant or sacred location, which is a Colosseum. They believe they are above the rule of law. They are known for charitable work, and they are master trainers of some kind of dinosaur, your pick. And that's what you can work with. Thank you.
All right, folks. Hope you loved the show. Until next